Welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. Um, oops, I shared the wrong thing. Hang on, sorry. I can't see straight as I dilated my eyes. So sorry about that. There we go. I think this is the right one. The blind leading the blind tonight. So welcome everybody. I'm Cindy Myers. And if you like more information about my website, you can go to www.yourenergyhealer.com, and that gives you some more information about my background and services and all sorts of good stuff. So with that, we'll get going. So tonight's webinar is on external stress and tips how to manage these external stresses. And if you're like me, we're feeling a lot of the added energy and stress of the world. So this is I think, hopefully a timely topic for all of us. And it is the tips that I'm going to share with you are exactly what I'm doing for myself these days. But before we get going, if you're having a medical emergency, please call your medical doctor or 911 or whatever physicians that you use. But what I can do for you during an emergency is provide energy support so that your natural healing abilities can work along with your doctors, can also help you just kind of keep calm and balance your system. So again, you can have, we can optimize your energy flow while you're getting tended to. It's a team approach. All right, so if the world's problems are getting to you, I know they are me on a lot these days. It's really put a lot of us in this overwhelmed state. You know, it's been pretty stressful the last couple of years as it is, but then you add in this other massive issue that's going on around the world. It really can put us into an overwhelmed state. So if our own day-to-day stress isn't enough, adding in the world's problem onto our energy level, even if we're not really watching the news, we can still feel the angst of that energy. At least I can. And I think most people that come on to my webinars and healing circles are more empathic type people. And so even if you're not fully aware how empathic you are, actually those of you who aren't aware of how empathic you are, this can be even a more stressful time for you without even really realizing it, because it's hard to tell if it is your energy or somebody else's energy. It feels like yours, but it doesn't come in and say, I'm so and so from Ukraine. No, it's a collective energy that just adds into our own personal stuff. And so we're going to talk about that today. And so let's start with kind of how do you know the signs of that you're in that overwhelmed state? Maybe it's obvious, but a lot of times it isn't as obvious. So how can we really tell? Maybe I can't see the chat box right now, but if you want to, why don't you, what are some of your signs? Put it in the chat box. What are some of the things that really are your indicators that you're kind of in that, tipping point? Where's that straw that breaks the camel's back, where you're just, had enough and you're overwhelmed and it's really starting to impact you negatively. So for some, it can be sleep issues, insomnia. It could be while you're sleeping, you might have more nightmares, disaster kind of dreams, although there's a yin and yang to some disaster dreams, but there's a collective dream that you can have. You're seeing natural or major disasters or things that are happening. Or maybe in your dreams, you're just really stuck and overwhelmed, or are you having dreams about being anxious? So, do you notice what's going on in your dreams and waking up just not feeling well rested? Or do you find your temper has a shorter fuse? That's another one, that maybe just your anger state gets a little more triggered and you just don't have the patience for others as much. Or maybe you just feel more anxious and depressed, or you're, you know, like I said, you're maybe not just in your dreams, but you're stuck in just doing things. You're just kind of frozen. You can't get going on projects or things that, you know, your to-do list. It just gets bigger and bigger. And we kind of get into that negative feedback loop. So what are some of your signs that maybe you can add to some of those? Because there's probably lots more that I haven't touched on. So if you are aware of what is where your signs, that's helpful. That's kind of step one. And for me, it's sometimes my sleep, and I definitely get a lack less patient with my animals that normally I might even think is cute, and then all of a sudden it's irritating me. So those are things that I look for. I go, okay, I just snapped at my dog because they did something that I normally wouldn't have snapped at. I'm probably in a in that overwhelmed state, and I need to take care of myself a little bit more. So chaos, and there's a lot of chaos out there that isn't ours, that necessarily, you know, but we have no control over. But it's out there, and that energy of people, other people having, you know, traumatic experiences, panic, fear to the extreme, right? And we're all little radars. So we're transmitting our, you know, every emotion that we experience, every thought has an energy component to it. And so it goes through us first, but then we transmit it out. Energy just doesn't stay contained in our own little cocoon. You know, we're not just individual little stovepipes that nothing else exists beyond us. It's just ours all the time. No, and conversely, other people's energy, they're many transmitters, and it ripples out and it hits us too. So that's why it's important to be aware of kind of where we're at. And then all of a sudden, if we tip over from the chaos and the overwhelm from what's going on with maybe within our family unit, somebody else is in a lot of big stress state, or you know, whatever's going on, it could impact us as well. So we just need to be aware of that. And this chaos, though, there's a yin and a yang to everything. So we can think of that some of this chaos is a precursor to change. And it can be good change, it can be bad change, but we don't like, you know, everything in nature. If I went back to my engineering curriculum, I studied thermodynamics, and we studied entropy, which is the study of chaos. And so everything in nature really goes into the state of chaos. And then it wants to get back into an equilibrium state. It wants to break apart, and then it wants to get back together. Okay, so we always are going through this chaos, this yin and yang kind of a thing of needing to blow things up or change, or you know, separate, and then it wants to regroup and come back together. So it's that cycle. It's always about cycling. And so change can feel very chaotic when we're really in that midst of that place where, well, you can kind of think of boiling. Water is a great example of this chaos state, or the whole cycle, really. If you think of water just in its watered state, think of that as like the equilibrium point. But then if you make it super cold, right, we go below 32 degrees, it freezes and it becomes hard. So those cells, those molecules actually latch on and get tighter, right? It's harder to separate them because now it's a solid, right? Those bonds with each other get really strong. And then conversely, if we heat it up and we get, I don't remember the temperature for boiling, but anyway, we get it to the boiling, guess what? Those molecules, as it heating up, they start to move more and faster. And when we get it to the boiling point, they start separating. Some of those water molecules start separating. The hydrogen and oxygen start separating and become steam. And it goes up into the air, goes up into the clouds. The clouds are up there hanging out, going, hey. And these individual cells or molecules go up into, you know, or atoms go up into, into the air. And then they combine again. And it becomes rain and it comes down. So So water is a great example of this chaos and desire to get into that equilibrium state. It always wants to go in. It's always trying to balance to get into that equilibrium state. So chaos, and then chaos can also be used as a distractor. We don't want to change, so we avoid looking at ourselves. Okay, so it can be very distracting because we're in the fear state. It's in that discomfort, uncomfortable state. And so when we're in that fear state, it's hard to think and get rational, and we can easily go into old habits that are more comfortable. And so with the society, collective stuff going on, again, it can feel helpless because we have no control over what's going on around the world, or what other people, powerful leaders are making decisions that I'm not in those meetings, so I don't have any real say on it. So we can really feel helpless, and that can be another distraction and overwhelm because we feel helpless, right? We do like to have some sense of control. So let's get back to the emotions. So we used water as an example, but our bodies are a lot of water, but also our thoughts, our chemicals, our emotions. When we think about what is an emotion, because we have them all day, but we kind of take them for granted that they're just there, right? But they're really actually chemicals that our body creates, that expresses an experience that we're having, a thought. So every thought, every emotion we have actually has this little chemical component to it. And so again, that chemical component has a frequency related to it. That's how it ripples out. That's how we send it out and receive it, is that we can pick up that energy. Its frequency is actually equated to energy. So so that's how we know that there's, and this is where you get to suspend some of the other things that we kind of don't think about sometimes, but time doesn't mean as much when we're talking about this kind of energy, because when I do my work, I work with clients all over the world over the phone. So it's kind of going faster than the speed of light, because I can tap into them and know exactly feeling what's going on in their bodies. So it's not going through any signals or, through all this other, your computers and all that stuff. It's not going up into a satellite. It's just connecting you and me. And we're feeling that energy simultaneously. Okay, I'm feeling it almost simultaneously to you. Anyway, so so time doesn't mean anything. That's why the collective energy clear across the world can impact us. We can feel that stress. We can feel those people's, and because it's so huge, millions of people are feeling it at the same time, that it's really a huge signal that's being sent out towards, and it's rippling out. It's like a tsunami of emotions that are hammering us. And even though we're really far away, we're not feeling it as strong as if we were actually right there. But at the same time, we're still feeling it, and it is coming into our body's system. Okay, so we really want to figure out, how do we counter that or take care of ourselves? And understanding how these emotions work is really important. I have a chart that I'll show, and a lot of you that have been on before know this chart, but maybe for some of you new folks, it might help understand what I'm talking about a little better. So let's go into the tips, and then I'll go to the chart. So, so first thing we want to do is just quiet the mind as best we can. We need to help slow things down, slow our brain, our lizard brain, the little hamster on the wheel. That's what we need to slow down so we can get into a quieter place. So the first thing that I always have people do is just breathe, and you'd be able, there's lots of science out there that says just breathing more fully will lower your blood pressure. Okay, lower your heart rate, and that's by doing that. If you do nothing else, that will help you. Okay, so just breathing fully, taking those. I have a number of clients that they have little apps on their phones that remind them every hour, whatever, to do breathing. That's great. If you need to do something like that, do it. Just get in that full breath. Try to make it as much of a habit. The faster you recognize that you're in that spinning mindset, that hamster wheel mind, and start breathing, that's better than if you wait till the beep on your phone that says to remind you to do it. But if that's all you can do, that's great. But the faster that we can recognize that we're kind of slipping into the stressed out state and breathe into it and slow things down, that's the better. And you can, the great thing about breathing is you can be in a meeting and breathe, right? It's not like you're doing a big, taking yourself out and doing a yoga pose someplace, right? You're just breathing. Okay, you're taking slow, full breaths. So breathing is important. The other thing I do is add in a higher frequency emotion, and that's I use love or above. I call it love or above, but it could be love. And again, the chart will show you gratitude. Gratitude is my easier one. Then it's the easiest emotion that I can think of to add into my breath work. And what this does, again, our thoughts matter, and every emotion has a chemical component to it. So when I think of something to be grateful for, or that I am grateful for, my master chef in my brain creates that brew of chemicals that says equals the kind of gratitude I'm thinking about, and it starts releasing it into my body. So now I'm transmitting and receiving that in emotion in my body. That's a really high frequency emotion, which is magnitude stronger than the worry and stressed out and the helpless feelings or the whatever else is going on. And and that triggers actually the calming system instead of the fight or flight response system. It's triggering the calming system, and that's what we really want to do. So now we're getting into that area, and it's important not to just rush through it. It's kind of like the breathing. We need to slow it down, but as you're slowing down your breathing, we want to add in and spend a moment or two with that gratitude. If we can spend a couple minutes just really thinking about, gosh, I'm so grateful that my dog Tesla isn't in my laundry basket and bringing out the socks right now, which is her typical thing she likes to do during webinars. But more seriously, I can just think of how grateful I am that, oh man, I just love these animals of mine. They are so sweet and cute, Miss Marple greeted me with kisses this morning and just so sweet and loving and clucking at me, and I got to spend a couple of quiet moments with her. So now I'm picturing and feeling that love energy, and it was just so nice. And I'm spending really a lot of time remembering it and feeling it. So now my master chef goes, oh yeah, I even remember, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can just tune to gratitude. If I can't think of anything, I can just use the word and I'll do a generic, the master chef will do a generic recipe. But now I'm getting really specific with my memory and spending time with it. And it's going, oh yeah, that was nice. That was a very calming recipe of peace and calm and gratitude and stuff. So now it's putting in all the nuances into it. And I can feel my body really relaxing because time doesn't matter. And so I'm actually, to my subconscious, I'm reliving that quiet and wonderful moment, and my body's responding to it. Okay, it's calming down. My heart rate is calming down. I'm just reliving how joyful that felt. Okay, notice the words I'm using: joyful, peace, and calm. So now it's adding even more of those very high frequency calming parasympathetic system emotions into my body. Okay. And again, it only takes a couple minutes to really pull ourselves out of the lizard mindset, the stressed out state. If we do just do the breathing and adding in the gratitudes, we can start pulling ourselves out and getting quieter. And what's important about that is, when we're in the fight or flight response system, it makes terrible decisions. It really does. It doesn't make the best decision. It makes great decisions to get us out of, if we're fighting for our life. Okay. If we are at a light and a car's running a red light and about to hit us, it is the best system. That is the one we want to make the decision of slamming on the brakes. Okay. We don't want to be in our thinking brain for doing that. But to decide on how I want to solve a bigger problem, no, it is really bad system, bad part of the, not bad. It's just not as efficient and effective of our brain in problem solving. Okay. So try and do the breathing and the 2 minutes. And when you do the gratitudes or peace and calm or joy, when you're adding in these higher frequencies, kind of think of it as a tuning fork. You're putting out this energy, these frequencies that's actually rebalancing your energy. It's like a tuning fork. Okay. So here's the chart I was just talking about. And you can see where the lower negative emotions are very slow moving. They're on the lower left side. Hopefully, I'm not sure. It's on my left side. I don't know if that's what showing up on your screen, but they're the shame, guilt, grief, fear, anger. All of those are very slow moving emotions. And those are the ones that trigger the fight or flight response system. As you go into the higher ones, for level or above, that's how you say level or above, those are going, then they're logarithmically stronger, faster moving emotions. And these are the ones that really trigger your parasympathetic response system. Kind of the difference between eating junk food versus whole food. And I know there's a lot of articles out there these days about toxic positivity. That's what they call it. And I understand that if you're always faking it, then yeah, that's not the purpose. There's actually purpose for these low negative emotions. What I use the positive emotions is so that I'm not stuck in the negative state. Okay. I use the positive emotions so that I can actually understand, why am I angry? You know, anger can be used as a wonderful catalyst to get some energy going. Okay, to get myself, if I'm I've got to write a letter because I'm mad about something, then, if I feel outraged, then it can be used as a great catalyst to get me going. But then I want to use the higher frequency emotions to be able to word that letter properly. Okay, really explain and talk about exactly what I feel now from my heart centered, and what solutions are possible out of that anger state. Okay, there's better solutions than just going, I'm mad and you screwed up and blah blah blah. Nobody's going to want to respond to that. But if I use that energy to get me moving to do something, and then I use my positive emotions to keep me thinking better, okay, or thinking more clearly and using more of my brain to find solutions, to word things better. But also, if I'm in a depressed state or anxiety state, I use the peace and calm. I like to use peace and calm a lot when I'm in more anxiety or depressed state, because again, it pours those chemicals into me so that it calms things down. And then I can think more clearly of what is going on that I'm anxious about, what is happening, so that I can deal with it instead of, again, sitting in whatever the narrative that while I'm in the anxiety state is probably not accurate. Okay, it's probably not 100% true. So by calming myself down, I can see things from a different perspective. So that's how I use positive emotions. It isn't to avoid the negative emotions, it's to understand them better and have a different perspective about them, and to use a bigger part of my brain so that I can problem solve a lot more effectively than just by using the part of my brain that's about the size of a walnut. Okay, so maybe some other people say, well, that's the soul size of your brain, but hopefully not. Okay, hopefully that there's some other part, of gray matter up there that's still useful. So if you need help in understanding that better, or coaching, because it is, even though the techniques are really simple, getting that perspective, figuring out that language, understanding what that narrative is that you might be in the hamster wheel about, you might recognize what it is or you may not. but then you may not know how to change that narrative once you do the breathing. That's the hard part. Okay, that's changing the habit. So we might need some coaching to do that. And so I have a coaching program that you might check out on my website. It's 45-minute sessions. We discuss those issues in detail, and I help you through those. We use your life, your experiences to coach you through using these tips and tools so that it's specific to your needs. And then I'd also, the whole goal too is by understanding that better, by going through into the darker places with the positive emotions, it's a path to your authentic self. Okay, as you grow more your intuition, your more authentic being, that's our goal. Okay, so when we get triggered, there's still it's the fertilizer, okay, to helping us grow. The anger, the grief, all those emotions, the negative emotions, that to me are the compost. Those are the things that we really need, that fertilizes so that it allows us to do the growing that gets us to the authentic place. Who grows when it's all honky-dory and life is going really well? We don't do that. We have to go through some of this darker stuff. So that's the purpose of it. We just don't want to get stuck. So that's our point. That's our purpose here. So we're going to have a healing circle right after tonight's webinar, but also I'm not doing one Saturday, but next Wednesday we're doing a healing circle, and then the following I thought I retyped that. It's not February, it's March. I could have sworn I did that. I can't see straight, so I'm going to use my eyeballs as my excuse. Anyway, it's March 16th and March 19th that are the healing circles, and then an animal emotions webinar. I got that one right. It is March 23rd, and then the healing circle, but at the end of the month on a Saturday. So no healing circle this Saturday, but a week from Saturday. And with that, I'll close this up. And if you have any questions or would like see what it's like to have trapped emotions, and again, the overwhelm that we're feeling are a bunch of trapped emotions that are just building up. You can think of it, we can tolerate a lot of trapped emotions, and it doesn't impact our day-to-day life. We can handle a lot of stuff for the most part, but it kind of keeps adding up, and there's like this threshold, and we keep adding up these overwhelmed state, stressed out state, and it's building and getting closer to that threshold, and then all of a sudden, the world's gone cuckoo, and our own personal stuff is full on for us too, and now we're exceeded that threshold state. And so what we want to do is get rid of those trapped emotions. Okay, we want to get them below that threshold, and it's good to not just get it right below, because you get one instance, you go in the grocery store and somebody's rude, we're right back over the threshold. So our goal is not just to get rid of enough trapped emotions so that we're below that threshold. We want to get some padding, so then we can tolerate the world a little bit better. We can tolerate what's going on in our lives a little bit better. So let's get rid of the trapped emotions. So right now, if you'd like to experience what that feels like, if you haven't, I will be happy to clear things for a couple of you, and then or answer any questions. If you have any questions on what we discussed, you're welcome to either unmute yourselves or type it in the chat box. Anybody? No, you're being shy tonight. So anybody, Kincaid Walker. Okay, good. You'd like to see. Do you have voice capability, Kincaid?
Yes, I do. Hi.
Good. Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd be happy to clear a few trapped emotions for you. So with your permission, I'll tap in and see what's going on. Unless you have something specific you'd like me to work on.
No, I'm just
curious.
Just curious. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me just tap in here. Okay. Do you have, is your neck kind of not real? It feels tight.
Yep, it does. It hurts actually the last few days.
Okay, so because I have about this much to the right and about even less to the left. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So they're going to start there. So I'm tapping in and trying to identify the emotion. So give me a moment while I do that. Okay, the emotion is unworthy. I'm going to release that one first. Oh, there we go. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. I just heard a pop. And now try moving your neck, please.
Oh yeah. It's better. Yeah.
So I can almost move it, not almost. It's actually better to the left now than the right. I don't know if that's true for you.
Yeah. The right, it gets stuck kind of by my shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Let's clear another one. The anxiety, I'm going to clear that.
Hmm.
Okay, now I think you can move it more to your right.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Yes.
Good. And when I first tapped in, I don't feel it as much at the moment. Oh, well, I'm feeling a little discomfort in my back, lower left side.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of over by the kidneys. So we're in the, yeah, coming down into the left and all the way around, even coming into the front. A little bit of discomfort as it's coming down. So I don't know if that's sciatica. Anyway, let me clear. Defensiveness, clearing that.
Mm.
Okay, I'm getting that I should identify the age on that one. Would you mind telling me your current age?
Sure. I'm 45.
If I could paste there to 20. Age 28 was when it was originally got stuck, and I'm accurate plus or minus a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you might think about age around then, because I got told to give you the age.
Okay. Thank you.
Um, Now I'm going to let me clear your kidney because I just keep feeling it in that left kidney. So let me clear that. So give me a moment while I do that.
Sure.
Okay, I cleared the left. And I always like to clear the right because it's a balance thing. So
Thank you.
okay. That's better. And we double check the neck. The neck still feels okay, it better. Does it still hurt?
It's much better. I mean, because it was really the last few days, it's been very stiff.
Mhm.
And we have a new puppy. You probably just heard bark.
Ah,
But all of those emotions that you cleared really deeply resonate with me.
okay, good. So again, though that's just a sample. We can, with my overwhelmed state lately, I've been clearing almost daily 173 out of myself. So we want to, and that is helping some both physical and being stuck issues for myself. So 3 or 4 is great, but again, we want to get it well below. So
Right. Thank you
uh,
so much.
you're welcome. So you might consider that. There's a starter package, or I do another one that's 15-minute sessions, and we can clear a ton of emotions in 15 minutes. So if you don't want any coaching and just need stuff removed, we can get a lot done in 15 minutes. And it's also, you can mix and match with your pets. So if the puppy ever has any issues,
Thank you so much.
sometimes it's, is it the chicken or the egg? The puppy's driving me crazy and I'm lack of sleep because we're trying to potty train and all the other things.
Right.
And overwhelmed, or is it is it because I'm stressed out and that it's impacting my puppy? So
Right.
although puppies don't usually need too much clearing, you never know. You never know. I have done some that are more anxious puppies, and a lot of them have had birth trauma. So it's good to clear those, or for rescue if they got removed too fast from mommies and litter mates, then they have some anxiety issues. So it's good to get rid of those as quickly as we can. So but if your puppy's kind of easygoing, then you're fine. It's just training.
Right.
So thank you. That's good. And again, you're welcome to stay on, and my guides come in and we do a whole lot more healing. It's really powerful. So you're welcome to stay on. And I already know what's going on intuitively. So when we do the healing circle, my guides and I will go in and do some more work on you.
Thank
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Gail, like releases, lower back. Okay. Let's see what we can do there. Frustration, releasing that. Grief. Release grief.
Interesting.
Mhm. Hmm. Okay, Gail, I don't know when Dune is due, but before she's due, I'm getting told we should talk,
Okay.
and it's related to your back.
Oh,
So if you get a chance before Dune has her litter,
we could talk
We should
next
talk.
week, like
yeah,
Monday or Tuesday, probably.
yeah, whenever you have a chance. I'm getting told that's kind of important. So we should just talk. I'm seeing a pattern, things coming up. So let's talk about that, please.
Yes.
Okay. And again, same thing during the healing circle. We'll work on your back some more too.
Is it more about my back or Dune or both?
It's not about Dune. It's about your back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
No,
you.
she's fine.
Thank you.
No, we saw, they just gave me a quick flash of a pattern.
Yes.
So I don't want to divulge anything for Gail because it's private, but we've worked together quite a while. And so I know in working with people for longer periods of time, we can see trends and have patterns. Again, our unconscious, it's mind, body, spirit. And so some of these issues come up that can be triggered by certain experiences that are going on. And again, our unconscious mind, time doesn't mean anything. So when we experience something, it's that PTSD thing. It's like, even though it may not be a PTSD, total PTSD, it's going, oh, I know this experience. This is how I'm supposed to react to it.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so then it wants to repeat things again, even though it doesn't need to, because it's not the same story as what happened, whatever time it got started.
Yeah.
When the habit got started. So it's unconscious. So we need, again, it's that perspective thing that we want to get a perspective so we can change the habit that is causing the difficulty and the pain in the back.
I look forward to speaking with you on that.
Okay. So good that the guides came in and said,
Thank you, guides,
yeah.
for the vision.
Mhm.
Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome. Thank you. But we'll definitely work on you some more during the healing circle to give you relief, but we don't want to just, that's where we just don't always want to get relief. I mean, clearing the trapped emotions is great, but we can actually create habits. Oh, here's a great example. And lower back at this time of year is very common. I'm not saying that this is what Gail's lower back is about, but I get a lot of people with lower back issues right now, because it's related to the second chakra, which is about money, which is, guess what time of the year it is? It's tax time. So people that are overwhelmed or stuck needing to do taxes or having to pay for taxes or whatever, the issue is that if they're in that resistance mode, frozen mode, anger mode, fear state mode around taxes, they get lower back issues quite often. So I get a lot of lower back issues right now. So it can be a time of year or an event could have happened at a certain time of year and we can get triggered because, oh yeah, February or March is when something else happened. And so now I get tense because I worry that, oh my God, that's going to happen again. Okay. Or and anything that looks and that is similar to whatever the original experience is, then our body says, oh, and our mind and everything, the unconscious mind says, this is how we need to handle it. You need to throw out your back, you get that little discomfort here and you get depressed or anxious or whatever the thing is. Okay. So, and we don't even put two and two together a lot of times, that it's really not even what we're experiencing today isn't really about what's going on today. It's our subconscious saying, oh yeah, it's creating that narrative again. What I was talking about earlier. Okay. It's really amazing what our unconscious and subconscious comes up with sometimes, or lizard brain. and we don't realize how much of our experiences with our body and mind is run by lizard, run by that little walnut size part of our brain. Anybody else? Any questions, thoughts? I'm going to stop the recording.